Hey, welcome to Mommy Talks Breastfeeding. My name is Marquita White, and I'm the founder of Mommies in the D. Today, we're going to be talking about breastfeeding importance in the Black community. So, Mommies in the D's vision is to provide a safe space for teen mothers and young mothers to learn how to advocate for themselves by providing them necessary tools to achieve goals that benefits their children and themselves in the best way possible. And what is Mommy Talks, you might ask? So Mommy Talks is a series of talks where we speak about the important topics every mommy should know about. We are going to have our conversation, and this is going to be led by our facilitator today, Iyana Dalton. Say hi, Iyana. All right. And we also have our panelists today. We have Ms. Mary Nicholson Jackson, and she is the co-founder of Reaching Our Sisters Everywhere. She's also a facilitator and advisor from Atlanta, Georgia. So say hi, Auntie Mary.
Hello.
All right, and we also have Elon Geffrard. She is the co-founder of Birth Detroit, a project coordinator, a doula, a speaker, and also a certified parent educator and a childbirth educator in Detroit, Michigan. Say hi, Elon.
Hello, everyone.
And we also have Robena Hill, and she is a community-based doula with BMBFA, which is Black Mothers Breastfeeding Association right here in Detroit, Michigan. Say hi, Robena.
Hi, everyone.
All right. So, Iyana, we're going to go ahead and get started.
Why is it so important for Black mothers specifically to breastfeed?
I can answer that one. Breast milk is the best food for optimal growth. Also, breastfeeding releases oxytocins and hormones that relax mothers and make mothers feel more nutrient towards their baby. And breastfeeding is soon after birth increases the mother's oxytocin levels, making her uterus contract and return to its normal size more quickly and reducing bleeding.
I also wanted to ask, is it true that sometimes when your baby is sick or not feeling good, does milk produced in your breast that could make the baby feel better?
So breast milk has absolute immune supporting benefits. And the beautiful thing about the relationship between a mother and her baby is that the baby is giving feedback to the mother's body on what to make more of. So if that's immune supporting cells, if that's more fat, if that's more protein, whatever that baby needs, mom's body will detect it before she's even aware that her milk is changing. So especially in these pandemic times, it's so important that moms continue to breastfeed their babies as a protective factor for not only baby's health, but also for mom's health, because breastfeeding has some benefits to mothers as well. I did want to add just a little bit about why Black women should be breastfeeding, particularly for our health, because Black women experience breast cancer more than other women, other racial groups. Every year a mother breastfeeds her baby, particularly a Black mother, she reduces her risk of not only breast cancer, but ovarian cancer, uterine cancer. And so breastfeeding is also beneficial to mom's body and her ongoing health and her baby's health too.
Good night. Good night. What benefits are seen for the mother and the baby when breastfeeding?
Well, I can answer some of the benefits. We have already gone over some of the benefits. Elon had just mentioned some of those along with Robena, but also the benefits for mom is, in addition, type 2 diabetes, and other health osteosclerosis as they get older. For the baby, it's going to reduce their risk of type 2 diabetes along with other illnesses. Remember that this breastfeeding in the infancy lasts as a lifetime for that infant and for that mom. So whatever, and the longer we breastfeed our babies and we extend the breastfeeding, the more benefits it's going to lay for that baby to be healthy when they get as young as we are.
A little bit about that as far as fewer allergies, fewer kids having eczema, asthma, fewer childhood cancers, a lot of different illness. Fewer children are having speech problems. Breast milk is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the statistics of breastfeeding in the Black community compared to other communities?
No, I would just start by saying in Detroit, Black women breastfeed are less. The statistics are that we're three times less likely to breastfeed our babies than other racial groups or other communities. And that has some context, that has some causation. It's not just because Black women refuse to breastfeed their babies. And so I think that there's some attention that needs to be given to the reasons why Black women in particular in Detroit, in Michigan, statistically looking at comparisons, aren't breastfeeding like other women are.
Say too, a lot of times in Detroit, in our community, African Americans, breastfeeding is like a well-known kept secret. And if you don't have the support, you're going to give up easily. If you don't have the knowledge, you're not going to know how to do it. So doulas are one of the great resources to have to breastfeed, and I'm a living witness. And then other groups, a lot of moms don't even know about the different groups that exist. I say get you a group to join, or have someone to help educate you. Then you will do much better, and our rates will go up higher with African Americans breastfeeding.
As I have been seeing, can't speak much on Michigan's. I have seen their statistics, but what I have seen just nationally, where moms are a little reluctant to breastfeed because of the support that they have at their home, in their homes, along with them. Their normally it's the father's mother, the fraternal grandmother, and also the dad. So educating the total community versus so that we can get them on board, that we will support that mom when she makes that decision or feel comfortable with doing the best thing for her family.
What are racial health discrepancies and how do they relate to Black breastfeeding?
I would love to speak on that because I work in public health. And for many years, public health, our focus has always been about disparity, which is really difference. What are the differences between racial groups and their health outcomes? And so when we look at it on paper, we could say that Black women they breastfeed at 20%. I'm just making up that number. While white women breastfeed at 40%. And maybe Hispanic or Spanish-speaking women breastfeed at 60%. But when we look at difference, we're not looking at the reasons why. What is the context of someone's life? What's going on in that woman's life? And when we're talking about Black women, what's happening in Black women's lives? When we look at those differences, that's making those health outcomes look differently. Right? So if I have everything, if all things are equal, why is it that Black women are breastfeeding less? There's a reason why. And lots of that has to do with a lot of systemic or the things that are in the structures in our society that influence how we think, how we believe, and what we grow to accept as true or right or normal. And so that has a lot of historical context too. Sorry, that was my public health hat. I'm gonna take that one off.
I can add to that as well. A lot of times, African American women, we have state insurance, and we're kind of just brushed through. You know, they don't take their time out and answer our questions or even take time out to educate us sometimes, which is very sad. So if the mother is not being educated, she's not going to know what to do. What if she don't have access to resources and she's dependent on either her doctor or midwife to educate her? So sometimes just when you have state insurance, they're trying to see so many people at once. They're just rushing through with seeing you on your doctor's visits. And say if you feel like you're not being treated right, you have the right to find a different doctor or go elsewhere.
And statistically, what we have discovered and working with the medical schools here, that they are told, the physicians and the nurses are all told that African American women aren't going to breastfeed. As in any other thing, African American children learn differently. African American children are not incompetent to learn a certain field. So as you talked about systemic racism or systemic concerns, we are, these doctors are trying to figure out, or the healthcare is trying to figure out, you know, what information, you know, not even following up to see if it's true. And plus, we don't have the tools or been giving what we would consider the permission to go and ask those questions, you know, check my breasts right after, you know, throughout the whole pregnancy, see what's going on, evaluate so that I can be prepared, whereas the doctors and nurses don't have that type of education provided to them as they're matriculating through their schools. So.
Can I lift this up too for all the moms watching? A lot of times we start to Miss Mary's point, we start to internalize things about ourselves, right? If somebody says, well, they don't breastfeed, and we start to internalize that narrative, well, I guess we don't breastfeed.
Right.
So we don't even try. And really, and so when we're counseled for formula, we don't even know that we can say, I don't want that. I want you to send me a lactation consultant.
Right.
Because again, we're not taught, we're not socialized, especially women, to really say no. We're not socialized to say, I want another opinion, or I need more options. And especially Black women, we're not told how to resist our providers. When we step into hospital systems and medical systems and big systems, even like WIC, we're taught a lot of times to believe that whatever they tell us is true and right. And we don't always resist and say, I want to try it another way. So I really can't emphasize enough, don't accept that narrative. It's not true. We do breastfeed. We've been breastfeeding everybody for many, many years. So accept that and know that you can do it. Ask for what you need. And
we need to have more likeness of us out there breastfeeding. We need to be bold. We need to go out there and just show in every aspect. And also, I've been always told, if there's not a chair at the table, bring a chair with you. Fold up a chair and bring it to that table so that, and as we continue to work in policy, we need to make sure that there is a chair at that table for not just the professionals and the ones that's making the policy, but that community that we're making the policy for. So we can see if they need the services we're trying to design or we're trying to make policies for, because they might not need it. And we have to be able now, it's very crucial that we start listening to the need of that community.
Mm-hmm.
If a mother did not breastfeed their child the first time around, does that mean it is harder for the mother to breastfeed in the future with other children?
Well, I guess I'm going to start that question, but I know Robena can also address that question. No. As we know better, we do better. And so as we continue to have children, I remember when I had my first child, I did not know anything. My mother didn't share that she breastfed all of us. And so someone just told me it was best for me. And my children were 14 years apart. And so they told me it was best for my child to breastfeed. So I said, okay, you know, and we went with it and breastfed for 18 months. So I think it's as we continue to grow, learn, you know, and as Elon says, not keep our minds open to different things so that we can embrace those new things, because that's going to only help our families to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely can speak on the topic. I did not breastfeed my first two. Like I said, I was not educated, and I had 9-pound babies, and the doctor did put the baby to the breast, and I was like, oh no, the baby's going to kill my breast. Give me the formula. I didn't know. But when I had my last baby, he was a 9-pound baby too, and he had a big mouth, and he latched right on perfectly. Thanks for my doula and the knowledge of the lactation consultants that was at the hospital, and it wasn't hard at all. Like I said, it was my first time after my third pregnancy, and he latched right on, and we actually breastfed for 2.5 years. I don't know how I made it, but I did. And mothers out there who's watching this, it may be a little rough in the beginning, but stick through it. Get you a support group or a support system, a doula, and we can help educate your family. Just like Ms. Mary said, it's not just with the mom, it's the family. If you don't want a support group, your support can start within your household and your family members as well. So get someone to educate you and the family so you guys can have a successful breastfeeding journey, and do all your research. A lot of times now I see more moms breastfeeding because they want to live, and if they want to live healthier, they want to give their baby the best milk around. And do your research. There's nothing better than breast milk. You're not going to find it. If you do, tell me, because I doubt it.
And I always tell people my stories when I did have my second child. We do have a lot of moms that are having to go back to work very soon. So I had her on a Sunday, and I had to be back to work that Wednesday. And my husband took that time off to take care of her. And then when I was able to take my time off, then I took the time off. But I know that's hard because people don't have that type of support. But I have worked with other mothers, and we found those options of pumping and so forth so that their desires can be met. So it's still, like you said, having that community around, trying to find out those organizations that you can network with and join. And you have 2 great ones here, or 3 great ones here in the Detroit area, and start to really start while pregnant learning. You have the doulas, which they did not have when I had my baby. So I'm glad to see that more doulas, so I think mothers and families just need to work together, and that mothers need to include the family. It's just not them going to the doctor. You have to give permission to the husband, permission to the significant other, and grandmother. Come on, whatever you say, just come on with me, and invite them into that circle, your circle.
I definitely had 2 more things to say. One, mothers, please remember that there's not only just doulas, there are community health workers too. So if someone in your area does not offer free doula services, or you can't afford a doula, try to see if you can find like a community health worker. And then another thing, Ms. Mary was saying she had to go back to work. I thank God she had that support, because it's hard. We want our babies to have the best, and we have to work to support our family. Pumping, if you're just pumping and not latching a baby on, that's still breastfeeding, and it's still a job for moms. And we definitely say make it fit your schedule so that you can be comfortable with pumping. And mamas, remember, drink plenty of water to make that milk come in.
And another thing in regards to this is the resources that are out there. We tend to take the narrative that certain groups that is being pushed out there in the lactation field are superior than other lactation supporters. Take the support that is in your community, get to know the people, and find and understand that it's not one group superior over the other. We're looking at people that can give you the help that you need. Grandma could do it if grandma's there with no degree, no certification or anything, but take the help that's going to be out there. And that's basically what I don't want people to limit their opportunities and their resources because of titles, and that some groups will market themselves as being superior than the other.
Being that you as panelists work with organizations that specifically target breastfeeding discrepancies, what can a mother gain from joining a breastfeeding support group or seeking help with their ability to breastfeed?
I would say, so I represent Birth Detroit, and our focus is around prenatal care and birth support and postpartum care. You can't ever have too much help, too much support, too much, and I won't even say, I mean, I think information can also, you can have too much information, but when it comes to your exposure to the information, the sooner the better. And really, again, it's about, for me, from our perspective, it's about changing our story. We hear all the time, Black women are dying, Black women aren't breastfeeding, our babies are dying. And we hear that so much that we don't even take into account how much it wears on us. But when you sit in a community of women who look like you, who have shared experiences, those are experts. And if you sit in the council of those types of folks, you start to internalize those positive messages, and you start to, change happens with you. I can do it. One of my favorite things to say to my godchildren is, you can do anything you put your mind to. But I started saying that to them when they were 18 months old. And now they're 11 and 12, and they repeat the sentence now, right? And so I say that to every breastfeeding parent. You can do whatever you put your mind to. Don't listen. Yes, those things are true, and you are thriving. You will do this. Your baby will thrive. So that's probably one of the things that I would emphasize the most on one's, on gaining that support and joining those communities and hearing those stories told.
And as a national organization working in various communities as well, even if you don't find one in your community, reaching out to some of the national services, Rose as being one, that we provide those links back into the community where you're from. We do have the baby cafe that is national, where you can come into, but our main goal is to link you back into your own community where the resources are and people that look like you can help service you. And so it's always best to try to seek out those that's in your community, but if you're having difficulties, find the places where they can link you back in.
So I definitely was going to say, just from my experience and also being a doula, when you join a support group, here at BMBFA, we have Black Mother Breastfeeding Club, and it's mom-led. So you're learning from other women, like Miss Mary said, you're learning from other women. They have experienced what you're going through. They can, or they can help educate you before you have the baby, which is really best, so that when you do have the baby, you know exactly what to do. And when you join the support groups, it's a breastfeeding club, but we talk about other things too. We talk about how postpartum will be when you come home from the hospital with the baby. Different things, we try to help you write down how you would prefer it to go and try to follow the way you want it to go. It's not easy. So when you come home, you'll have a plan and you will know exactly how you would like for it to go. So you would try to make sure that your daily routines is how you want it. Just different things. We create vision boards. It's a sisterhood as well. And like we say, bring your family, because we help educate family as well. And then what you get from the group is a lot of knowledge. Breastfeeding is one of the big things that you get from it. And like I said, I've been going since I was 5 months pregnant. That was in 2017. And now I work for the company, so I'm help running the breastfeeding club, but it's mom-led. I'm just there to ask great questions in case mommies come and they don't have anything to talk about. We're going to talk today. We're going to find something to talk about. And I do a little trivia. And like Ms. Mary was saying, go to different organizations if you can't find one in your state or your city. Right now, sadly, with COVID, here, we're able to go do things virtually, and we're able to educate more. So I definitely say take this time out and educate yourself. Join different virtual calls with Breastfeeding Club. We have out-of-state members coming to Detroit Breastfeeding Club, and they're so grateful that we have that service because they cannot find it in their state. So,
yes.
I don't want to underestimate the power of partners. I work for an international organization as a trainer, and one thing that we found, and it's focused on Black women, but it's something so beautiful about a Black man who says, give my baby that breast milk, right? Yes. So I had a really good friend who gave birth to her last 2 babies in the last 18 months. And the third baby, she was like, I don't know, it was a boy too. So she had some feelings about breastfeeding and having a male child. And I was every chance I saw, I said, so when you go, so how are we gonna breastfeed? And she had never breastfed before. And we were sitting at dinner, and her husband was like, yeah, man, give my baby that breast milk, you know? And he was one of her biggest cheerleaders. He didn't know how to put a baby on the breast. He didn't know how it was going to happen. But I think his support was so vital. And again, in that national organization I work with, we have found research that says it's a Black man that keeps the male partner is the one who has encouraged a woman to keep on when she was ready to give up. Yeah. So it's don't underestimate the power of your voice if there are any brothers watching or listening, and don't underestimate the power of your partner's voice. So, and your good girlfriends, because we know how to encourage each other, you know. So yeah.
And that's and to go along with Elon, and that's one of the reasons, and this is not a commercial or anything, but that's one of the reasons that we designed Reaching Our Brothers Everywhere, because of those statistics that you just mentioned, but also that the mothers, the brothers are out there asking, but I hear mothers say, no, they can't take care of my baby. They don't know how to take care of my baby. Mm-hmm. If we continue to not give them that permission, they'll go out and play basketball with their friends, and you'll be upset because they're not at home with the children and so forth. So we have to invite them into that space, encourage them, because they will be your biggest cheerleader once you know they are informed of that information. So there are areas within the United States, and also, like I said, Reaching Our Brothers Everywhere, we can connect them to places, the men, to places in the United States where they can go and also get that education on breastfeeding from other brothers, and just not taking it from us. But if they don't have other brothers there, they're welcome. They will welcome you, the mothers, to involve them into their help, and demand that the health industry recognize that partner. If they come in and just address you, you introduce them to your partner and your significant other, so that they'll understand this is a unit here, and that they do not try to dismiss it, because that's what the men are saying.
Really reach out. I did want to say a little bit more too. Brought on great points right there. Also, check with your OBGYN or your doctor, your midwife, to see if they have any programs in the hospital that will help you learn or educate you. Any groups, support groups, because I know some hospitals, they do have the support groups and the healthcare workers there to help you as well, not just during your doctor visits, but during support groups. Yeah. Also, call the back of your insurance card. See if they offer programs for you as far as maternal infant health care program. You'll be surprised, even if you have state insurance, you'll be surprised what groups are there and you just don't have a clue.
Yes.
What can other mothers do to encourage future generations to also breastfeed?
I can start. They should breastfeed and demonstrate. They are going to be the venue into changing the whole generation. From me just breastfeeding my daughter, my nieces, my nephews, and my son, and everyone now, and my daughter who's had children, and her daughter who's had children, are now breastfeeding. So we can change a generation just by mentoring and also exhibiting those this sort of things, and talking positive about it versus all the other things. We don't ever want to deny things that's happened, but we can be honest about it. But also, share those stories of how we overcame some of those things, because it is real. Okay. But it's an individual story, and we need to make sure everyone's writing their own story in their own chapter in their book, each child. So we need to make sure that moms are knowing what happened to me might not happen to you, and just share those stories.
One of my favorite in that song, Black Butterfly by Denise Williams, is tell our generations what the struggle brings, right?
Yes.
So maybe you were a mom who had some difficulty, and it wasn't your story to breastfeed till your baby was 18 months or 2 years old. But you can say that I tried, and you can also say, you can share your story and encourage someone else to do something differently. You never know your birth story until you ask your mama. So mamas, tell the birth stories, tell the struggle, tell the triumphs. And I echo Miss Mary's sentiment. My mother breastfed my little sister when I was 2. And I remember walking around with my baby dolls and putting my baby dolls to my breast, because my mother didn't make it, shameful. She didn't cover it up. She breastfed openly whenever she had to. And so that instilled in me, that was the norm. And she tells us all the story. I breastfed you this long. I breastfed you this long. And it really, I don't have any children, but it's the story that I know it's possible. And my mom she did something totally different than her mother did. And she changed our family narrative.
I think that is excellent. My mom, she didn't breastfeed. I didn't even ask her too many questions about breastfeeding when I was younger. I didn't even ask my birth story. And sadly, she's no longer here with me. And I wish I'd asked these questions, but I definitely say, one, openly breastfeed in public, breastfeed. For one, if they say something bad to you, tell them to get educated. You need to get educated. I always tell my moms, when people try to shame you for openly breastfeeding, tell them that I'm sad that you are not educated on the benefits of me breastfeeding. Openly breastfeeding, I used to hide like in a room and breastfeed my baby, and I tell my other kids, don't come in here right now, I'm breastfeeding. Then I got the courage from Breastfeeding Club and other breastfeeding support women I had in my circle. I was openly breastfeeding in front of my kids. I have all boys, and I was like, I didn't think that was right for them to see my breast. And I'm like, this is what I want them to educate their wife on when they get married. I want them to make sure my grandbabies are breastfed. And breastfeeding, know the benefits. When you breastfeed your baby, it helps support their immune system. It protects their oh, I'm so sorry, I can't even think of everything. I don't want to say so much at once. It helps their immune system, and every other health ways it helps as well. I definitely say, do your research on breastfeeding, and you can speak and help other mothers. You can advocate for other mothers who don't even have a clue, or your friends or your family or even your children. When it's that time, you can help educate them, and you can just set an example and lead the way for other moms. A lot, like I said, sadly in the African American community, it's a well-known hidden secret. My family members breastfed. They didn't say anything till they saw me breastfeeding. I'm like, well, I've been pregnant 2 more times before this. How come y'all didn't educate me? So I definitely say, get you a nice circle and enjoy your company that's around you, and learn as much as you can and help educate as much as well.
All right. So I want to thank you so much for participating and sharing all of your stories. This was a powerful conversation. This is powerful. Iyana, how did you like that?
I loved it. I'm actually glad that I learned a lot. Yes, I do know that a lot of families don't tend to tell you things until, after you have the baby or until it's too late. So I'm glad that I am receiving this information for the future, if that, But I'm sorry. I'm thankful that I have this opportunity with you guys for sure. Thank you so much.
Baby, it is very important to let your baby on within that hour frame after being born. You want to make sure that you let your baby on so that you can have a great breastfeeding experience and journey, because that little hour is so critical and women don't understand. And sometimes they'll say, oh, the nurse will come back, okay, we'll help you later. Ask for that. You can let your baby on immediately after you give birth. I did, and it was a great experience. And he breastfed for 2.5 years. So make sure within that hour frame after your baby is being born, you let your baby on. It's very important.
All right. And I would just want to say thank you again to our panelists. And I definitely want to make sure that everyone has the ability to reach out to our panelists if they have any additional questions or just in general want to follow the amazing work, because these organizations are doing phenomenal work in their communities and in this nation. So please follow Miss Mary Jackson. You can follow her on her email listed here, but also at www.breastfeedingrose.org. You can find the baby cafes and also different opportunities for community partners that will enhance your programs and also enhance the breastfeeding experience for the moms. You can follow them on social media at support_Rose, and I will also include the social media for Roe as well, reaching our brothers everywhere, because that is also an important message for our young fathers out there. Also, you can follow Elon and all the great things that Birth Detroit is doing at www.birthdetroit.com and follow them. They have a lot of great things coming up, so you definitely want to make sure you follow them on social media at Birth Detroit, and her email is listed as well. And for Robena and Black Mothers Breastfeeding Association, you can follow Robena at her email listed here, or follow the website at www.blackmothersbreastfeeding.org. And we also have some resources, because you know that we can't leave our moms without resources. So Robena, tell them all the great things that BMBFA is doing.
Yes, thank you for even having me today and showing everyone the different resources that we have. BMBFA stay busy, and I love it. We have a lot going on. So right now, due to COVID-19, we do have a warm line support. And if that warm line support, the number is 1-800-313-6141. We have our community WIC breastfeeding liaison, who is Miss Erica, who has great resources. She can get you signed up with WIC and also has so much knowledge with breastfeeding. And we also have Ashley and I, the doulas that's there. You can get doula support and breastfeeding guidance as well. The second flyer is our Black Mother Breastfeeding Club. Normally we would do it twice a month. Due to COVID, we are doing it weekly, and I'm telling you guys, I just have so much fun. And I'm and I'm the one who's like, asking questions and things like that. But it's mom led, and to get into the breastfeeding club, you can text number 82257, and you're gonna text the code BMBFA, and that's how you get information about our upcoming events and things like that, and how to log in for our breastfeeding Zoom call for Breastfeeding Club. And that's every Wednesday at 4:30 to 5:30. A lot of times we go over because we have a lot of great stuff to talk about, and I just love it. So if you have time, please join us. Please educate yourself before you have the baby and while you're breastfeeding. If you need that help, please join us. Yes. So with the Black Mothers Community-Based Doula Program, we offer services to moms who stay in Detroit, Hamtramck, and Highland Park. And we offer free services to you guys. We do 10 home visits with you to educate you about labor, delivery, and breastfeeding if you choose to breastfeed. We have to be there at the birth when mom has dilated to 6 centimeters. We come in and we coach you through the process. And then we do 10 great postpartum visits with you as well. And when we're done with the 10 postpartum visits, you receive a case of diapers and a pack of wipes from us. And then also with the Tuesday virtual breastfeeding informational session, you have Miss Erica, who is our WIC community breastfeeding liaison. And she has a breastfeeding informational session every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. It's great. The doulas are there to help as well. If you have any questions for like doulas, or you just wanted to know more about a doula, we also are on that call with Erica. So guys, yes, and to get that information about the breastfeeding class, how to sign up, you would text number 82257, and you would text the code BFCLASS. And they'll give you all the upcoming events for the virtual breastfeeding informational session.
All right, and Birth Detroit has some great things coming up, and I definitely would love Iyana to tell you guys about it.
Yeah, so Birth Detroit we launched our virtual childbirth education class in June, and we have been providing a 5-week course on childbirth education, the process. And so we talk from stages of labor all the way to newborn and postpartum care. Our next session available to register is starting September 19th. So we welcome folks who will be in their 3rd trimester around that time. So anywhere from 31 on, we want to invite you to register. And you can go to our website at birthdetroit.com, and under resources, you can click on our registration link. We will also be opening our first prenatal wellness care. We're not calling it a clinic, but it's easy access, which means that if you are uninsured, underinsured, you do not have to wait to get an appointment. You don't have to come in with your insurance information. We can help you get connected to insurance, but we will take care of you regardless of your ability to pay. And so that's huge, especially in our city, because lots of times physician offices and midwifery offices are midwives are under physicians here, but you can't get in sometimes as soon as you need to. So and all of our providers are midwives, and you will see people who look like you if you are a Black woman who identify as a person of color. And we will be opening Detroit in the 313. Detroit's first freestanding birth center. Detroit has never had a place to give birth that was not in the hospital or the home. And so we will be opening in 2021. We're in active search for where we will be situated. But we're really excited to serve the 70% of low-risk births that would be eligible for a birth center birth if they so chose. So,
Birth Detroit and BMBFA, if you're not following them, make sure that you are following them. And last but not least, I even have a caveat and a resource for the partners. So, Ms. Mary Jackson, would you like to tell them about the VIP cohort?
Yes, we would like to be, Rose would like to be a group that will provide resources to women that work that's in the care here that applying for, you need to get on September the 8th, and we'll go over some of that information, and tell you how to apply for it. So if you are interested and know of other partners, please get on and join the movement. Like Elon says, this movement is coming. It's already here.
And as Mrs. Jackson said, there's also Rose's Baby Cafe. Baby cafes are on Mondays and Thursdays. Mondays 1 to 3 p.m. and Thursdays 6 to 8 p.m. There, you all will learn about resources for pregnant and breastfeeding mothers, and also get support from Rose breastfeeding staff. There's also an open forum discussion. Sign up at the link below. So I thank you guys so much for joining us. Please make sure you guys follow us on our social media accounts. We have an Instagram and a Facebook, and our website is coming soon. So please stay tuned for that. And thank you guys so much for joining us again. We can't wait to see you for our next conversation. So I'll see you later, you guys. Bye.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.